Beyoncé had just wrapped her world tour and decided to retreat into silence. She rented a secluded mansion deep in the Colorado Rockies to escape attention. No paparazzi, no flashing lights, only the mountains and her private security. The house was massive, Victorian style, creaking floors, high windows, endless corridors. She liked it. It reminded her of places she had only read about. It was the first time in years she slept without hearing traffic or sirens. On the third night, she began to hear something that didn't fit the stillness. A faint humming. A melody she didn't recognize, but oddly felt familiar. She assumed it came from her phone, or maybe the old vinyl player. She searched the house with her assistant, Gina, but found nothing unusual that night. Gina laughed it off, saying maybe the mountain air had strange effects. But Beyoncé wasn't amused. The sound had direction, like it followed her movements. She dismissed it for a while until one morning her toothbrush was missing. The bathroom mirror had fogged over as if someone had just stepped out. A message in the steam read, "Do you remember my voice?" Her heart pounded as she wiped the mirror, revealing nothing behind her. She called her security team, but no one had seen anyone enter. They checked the footage. The cameras had gone offline. Between 3:14 and 3:18 a.m., Gina offered to stay in her room that night just in case. At 2:47 a.m., both women woke to the sound of humming again. It was closer, now just outside the bedroom door, faint but intentional. Beyoncé grabbed her phone and started recording the sound, voice trembling. When they played it back the next morning, there was no sound at all, only static and a single phrase in a whisper. "I never left." She asked the caretaker about the house's history, looking for any explanation. He hesitated, then told her the home once belonged to a failed composer, a woman named Elisa Hart, who vanished in 1963 after a nervous breakdown. They said Elisa wandered the hallways for days, humming unfinished symphonies. One night, she reportedly threw her piano out the window, then disappeared forever. Locals said her music still echoed through the walls every so often. Beyoncé was skeptical until she heard humming in her dreams that week. She woke up one night to find sheet music placed on her dresser. It was a song she had never written, but felt as if she had. The notes were eerie, unresolved, filled with sharp turns and unfinished scales. Her fingers itched to play it, to understand what it was saying. She sat at the house's old piano and let herself follow the notes. Her hands moved almost involuntarily, the melody pulling emotion from somewhere deep. When she finished the final bar, she looked up and froze completely. In the window, a pale reflection stood behind her, not moving at all. It wore a dark dress, hair tied in a high vintage bun. She turned around. No one was there, just the quiet and cold. The reflection had not been hers. The silhouette was taller, almost ghostly. Gina begged her to leave the house and go back to Los Angeles. But Beyoncé felt a strange pull, as if the song had possessed her. She began dreaming in music, hearing symphonies that never existed before. She locked herself in the studio for hours, creating tracks unlike anything else. Gina said the sound was haunting, too dark, not at all Beyoncé's style. But Beyoncé kept saying it wasn't her writing. She was only listening. After a week, every surface of her room was covered in sheet music. The notes became more chaotic, less human, impossible, even for trained musicians to read. Still, she played them every day, the house resonating with discordant echoes. One night, while recording, the microphone caught something behind her breath. A voice, clearly female, sang along to the music she played. But Beyoncé had been alone in the studio the entire time. She played the tape for Gina, who turned pale and silent. "It's her," Gina whispered. "Eliza, you're bringing her back with this music." The next day, Beyoncé collapsed in the hallway after hearing a violent scream. The sound came from inside the walls, like someone trapped behind plaster. Security searched the house and found scratch marks behind the library shelves. They removed a panel and found an old recording studio hidden behind it. Inside were tapes, broken instruments, and journals filled with music theory notes. The name Eliza Hart was written in red on every single page. One tape had a date: October 4th, 1963, the night Eliza vanished. They played it. The audio was distorted, but her voice was unmistakable. "I gave everything to the music," it said. "Now, the music takes everything." Beyoncé stepped away, visibly shaken, recognizing the same melody in her recent dreams. Gina packed their bags, demanding they leave before the house claimed more. But Beyoncé stood frozen, looking at the final page of Eliza's journal. It had her own name written in the margins, over and over again. She whispered, "She knew me before I came here." Gina shouted for her to move, but the air grew heavy, electric. Lights flickered, the piano played itself, and the sheet music caught fire. They fled the house as windows shattered and the front door slammed shut. Outside, silence returned, as if nothing had ever happened inside. They never spoke about what they experienced again, not in public, but in her next album, a single track stood out to critics. It had no lyrics, only a haunting piano melody and whispered background vocals. Some swore they could hear a second voice, faintly, singing in pain. Beyoncé never confirmed its origin, only smiled and called it a collaboration. To this day, the Colorado mansion remains empty, music faintly echoing inside. Locals say it's louder on nights when the stars align just right. And on those nights, Eliza's melody calls, again, waiting for someone to play.